just some delays, so that's why we try to keep our timing during this conference. Okay, perfect. I think it works. Oh, great. Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to welcome you at our second conference, which is devoted to artificial intelligence. And I would say that with each conference, I feel that we are moving globally and internationally. So I'm really happy that this time we talk with you in English. And we have participants over the world, and we have speakers who join us. And among them, there are leaders of in international education. There are also some startuppers. There are also some academia as well. So I believe that it will be very exciting for each of you. My name is Oksana Pozdnikova. I'm a director of the Belgian Educational Council, and as you could guess, we are based in Belgium. And since 2014, we trying to boost the international cooperation. We're trying to help the professors to change their professional direction, to enrich their pedagogical approaches, practices, and I would say in general, we're trying to help education to outpass time. So because we believe that the students who will be the future professionals, they need to be adopted to this extremely rapidly changes which we face every day, each of you. And of course, education should be developing very fast, should react very fast. And in my dreams, education should create the new trends which will influence our daily life. We trying to make happy the professors in their daily life and to help them to be excited with their jobs, because you see, when there are a lot of changes, everybody tries to close himself or to try to work as it was like 10 years ago, not to change and to make some barriers. So we help professors to be open to the innovation, to be open their creativities, and to think out of the box and try to also to give their knowledge differently. So we really give a lot of motivation to educators. We work also with universities, because we understand that if there are several small groups of very advanced professors, they could not make a big change. And of course, we work with the administration of universities. We're trying to give them the new perspective of development of their the institutions, financial ones, international. And of course, we also work with the Ministry of Education. So our mission include one, I would say, one such goal as a united maker together. They all parties who collaborate in educational process, and then who use the outcomes of this process. So we're trying to bring on one table all players of academic world, Ministry of Education, universities, and also we're trying to connect them with the recruitment agencies, with the companies. And of course, our dream that every person who finish the educational institutions today will get a job tomorrow, or he or her already had received a job yesterday. So if we will reach such kind of goals, of course, we will fight very successfully with unemployment, and we will have a very happy society. And we believe that artificial intelligence will help us to reach such kind of goals. But let's see, because myself, I love innovations. I'm really open to everything which push myself out of my routine. But still, I believe that there is some traits, some treats for players in educational worlds. And that's why for myself and for our team, this topic is extremely exciting, because we invite speakers who has a lot of practical skills, who has a vision, and who could give us motivation, ideas, insights, and very fresh experience how to develop in this new environment, the environment where the artificial intelligence become stronger each day. So for me, it's very exciting to hear what kind of changes has been made during this half of the year, because it's, as I said, it's a rapidly changing world now. And also, our goal is attract attention to educators on the fact that now it's a huge revolution which takes place, and we shouldn't close our eyes. We have to move forward. And I believe that this conference will really give you new tools, will give you like power to move, and of course give you a lot of inspiration. So now I would like to give a word to main organizer of this conference, Nadezhda Mardas, who who developed the concept, who contacted all speakers, who make agenda. So I would like ask Nadezhda to present us their program and to give some small description about the speakers, and you will see that it's an incredible level, I would say. Nadezhda, I just will open the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Hello, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to the International Online Conference, Neural Networks in Education, Revolution, Pandora's Box, or Roadblock. I'm Nadezhda Mardas, and I'm the organizer of this conference, and I'd like to provide a brief overview. We are thrilled that our conference has garnered a positive response, attracting participants from various countries around the world, including Greece, Italy, USA, Canada, Australia, Mongolia, India, Turkey, United Kingdom, Uzbekistan, Portugal, Kyrgyzstan, Czech Republic, Ukraine, Pakistan, Kazakhstan. For participants who might find it challenging to follow English speech, we have arranged a YouTube broadcast with subtitles in your native language. Please take advantage of this feature, and you will find the link to the YouTube broadcast in the chat room. The main objective of this conference is to address the new challenges educators face due to the emergence of artificial intelligence and explore the potential of neural networks in the field of education. Today, we have invited experts who will share the latest and most useful information in AI in education. Allow me to introduce our distinguished speakers, each selected for their expertise in the intersection of artificial intelligence and education. Yeah. Dave Travis will explore how artificial intelligence can enhance human intelligence and human potential. Unfortunately, we received word this morning that Amanda, who was supposed to talk about redefining learning in the age of AI, will not be able to speak due to serious circumstances. And she has asked to apologize to everyone involved. Vladimir Spivakovsky will discuss the superpower of ChatGPT 3, 4, 5, 6, and neural networks in education. Sergei Snegiryov will address AI and soft skills training, myths, trust, and life hacks. Ellie McCrary will share insights on the transformative potential of generative AI in education. And Dr. Nick Jackson will reflect on AI in education a year after the world changed. In addition to these insightful presentations, we are excited to provide a unique opportunity to hear the voices of the future through a panel discussion. Students from around the world will express their opinions on the topic of AI in education, offering diverse and insightful perspectives. Each speaker will have 30 minutes to present, with an additional 10 minutes allocated for answering your questions. Please use the chat for this purpose. And Sergei Snegiryov, our today's speaker and the CEO and founder of BranchTrack, and e-learning platform focused on scenario-based training, will award a one-year professional license to the most active participants at the end of this conference. I hope all conference participants gain valuable insights. And now I want to pass the word Oksana Pozniakova, Director of the Belgian Education Council and today's conference moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nadezhda, for your efforts and for really great results. So, dear participants, I just would like to focus your attention on our agenda. Just in a few minutes, I will give the word to our first speaker, Vladimir Spivakovsky. Then we will have the second speaker. Then hopefully we will have a small break. Let's see how we will go. It will go our discussion. After break, we will have a panel discussion, and I really wish you to advise you to participate, because the future generation is the people who will live with artificial intelligence every day, not like as we are. When we want to ask something, we write in GPT chat, but if not, okay, we could live without it. And then we will have the third speaker, little break, hopefully, and afterwards we also our program will be continued by Nick Jackson, and instead of Amanda, we will have an interaction with a very useful prizes which everybody could gain. So at the end, we will hear our very famous speaker, Dave Travis. So you see, till the end, our agenda will be full of surprises, and will keep your interest on the very high level. So about 3 p.m. on Brussels time, I hope they will make closing remarks. And for those who would like to get a certificate, also I will give some information. As you see, artificial intelligence, they never get sick, never get cold, and we are humans. So unfortunately, we still have such kind of problem. So in case if you hear that my voice is not so loud, I wanted to say that 1 week ago I didn't have a voice, so I'm really happy that I could participate in this conference as moderator with my not artificial voice. And I also would like to mention that some of you who feel uncomfortable in English, you could also make subtitles in our Zoom stream. Just choose this option, and in this case, you will also have a translation in your native language. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present our first speaker, and Vladimir Spivakovsky. We already had him on our first conference, and it was so excited that we could not stop listening to him. So, Vladimir, I would like to give you opportunity to present yourself, because I see already your presentation, and I give you the floor, please.
Okay, good morning. It's a big honor and pleasure for me to be presenting here today at this conference. And I'm very thankful to Oksana, to Nadezhda, and Belgium Educational Council for the organizing of this conference and for the invitation. My name is Vladimir Spivakovsky. I'm involved in the creating of new educational systems for nearly 35 years. And sometimes they call me the stereotype breaker, because it's really joyful, and I enjoy this when I can break something old and introduce something new, especially when artificial intelligence helps us. But not only on paper. I'm running the network of my private schools grant, where we apply everything new and fresh. 1 year passed from the ChatGPT's appearance, and then we couldn't even imagine and didn't know what did happen. And happened what happened? People divided on into four groups. The first group of people who were frightened and suspicious and didn't know what to expect from this ChatGPT. They were in panic. The second group of people began to play with it as with a toy. The third group of people, I really respect them. They rushed to monetize it. They organized workshops, seminars, webinars, and began to make money. Really good thing. And there was a fourth group of people, I belong to it, that were not satisfied with these previous three groups. I thought, if this ChatGPT is so almighty, doesn't have some additional power, a superpower, can it solve some unsolvable problems for centuries in the mankind? Such a task to him. And I found it. This superpower, especially in education, because I'm involved in education, and we will speak in education and superpowers, a set of superpowers that now education will have. What is the first thing, a superpower that he opened? He solved a problem that was unsolved for centuries. The name of it is how to teach children to learn, how to learn them to study. Because we are speaking now, we are speaking with you now here, but this very moment, in many countries, there are hundreds of conferences devoted to this topic: how to teach children, how to learn them, how to study. Hundreds and thousands of books are written, dissertations exist, but we still have no idea how to teach children, to let them learn the learning material. And when I saw how the ChatGPT works, I found that there are 4 points of his algorithm. Sometimes I call him he or it, I don't know. I asked him a question: you are he or you are it? And he or it answered that it doesn't matter. You can call me whatever you decide to. So when we see his answers, we see them structured: first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And if the child sees this structure for the first time, it's funny, it's okay. When the child sees this structure of the answer the second time, funny too. But if the child sees this structure for the 10th, 20th time, some matrix appears in his mind. And when he is called to the blackboard to answer the paragraph of the textbook, suddenly a miracle happens. Beyond his mind, he begins to answer. Firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, fifthly. Yeah, really interesting. So the ChatGPT gives us the model, the matrix of answering, the announcement, the structured answer, and the conclusion. So this is the first thing that is very progressive. The second thing that he demonstrates us, that he describes the topic of the textbook not once, but layer by layer, layer by layer, deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper, for many times. This is the best method of learning any material, layer by layer and deeper. The third one is ability to formulate and ask questions. Sometimes parents come to me and say that the only thing that school must do is to teach kids to ask questions. They are right. I agree, no doubts. But were we taught with you in the school to ask questions, to formulate questions? Did any teacher taught us this art? I don't remember. But ChatGPT underlines the advantage of understanding and knowing how to ask and formulate questions easily, because he has an industry of prompts, and children are training on them, and soon, in few weeks or few months, they assimilate this knowledge, how to ask questions, how to formulate questions, to be understandable from the ChatGPT. Sometimes ChatGPT writes, I have seen many times, I don't understand, what do you want from me? Please correct your questions to make me be possible to ask your question, because I don't have a lot of materials in my database. And I'm trying to correct my answer question, and soon, with first, second, third attempt, we see the question and we see the answer. Sometimes he says, look, I cannot answer perfectly. Please help me. And the child is very surprised. he says, Mom, I am helping the artificial intelligence itself. Good. This is how the system does work. And the fourth point of this algorithm, the ChatGPT is very friendly. He is not nervous. He is tolerant. He gives the child as many attempts as he wants, and he select the best answer, but not the average. That is very important for the child to respect him and to upgrade his knowledge. So we see if the child will possess these points, this technology, this algorithm, isn't this a sign of the top-notch brains, first class, first rank brains? It does. When I'm speaking about superpower, I must show you some examples from the aside different industries. For instance, communication. You see the evolution of communication industry. First, from the loud voice, then through the telephones, different types, iPhone, and now we are on the stage that will have no gadgets. They will be inside of us. So we will have, if we had in ancient times the level of communication industry of level 0 or 1.0 and 2, 3, 4, we are going now in the communication industry to the level 5. Isn't it good? Would it be good for education to pass that avenue from the level 2 when it does now to the level 5.0? The second superpower I will show you, you know, maybe, there is the headache of the mankind. Not only just people, but we are here in the audience. We have a pain with learning English language. Millions of people want to learn it, to study it, spend money, nerves, time, but it's so difficult to learn English language. But what does the ChatGPT do? He gives us a new gadget. Soon it will be, you can see now the gadget that can speak English language or different hundreds of languages by your avatar, with your mimics in the face and with your voice, and you will not be pressed to spend money, years, and nerves to know English or other hundreds of different languages. You will just speak in your own native language, but it will be transmitted to the partner or to the audience in any language they will decide to accept. So this is a superpower, isn't it? It is. So our neural network began to correct its underlines, its accents, and we'll see how it does work. I asked the ChatGPT such a question: if the education system, is devoted, its mission is to make openings and discoveries, can you make these discoveries and these openings? You are clever, you are artificial intelligence, you are ChatGPT, you are generating new context, text, videos, whatever. And what about the openings? Now I have a question to you. Do you know that in the last 50 years, the quantity of openings, breakthrough openings, decreased in 90%. So we have a regressive trend of openings. So maybe ChatGPT and AI was sent to us to do this better and better. So I asked him a question, difficult question. I am researching the noosphere, maybe you know, Vernadsky's noosphere, that includes everything in the world, in the what is around us. And I asked him, this noosphere with AI better than without AI? What is the difference between noosphere with AI and without AI? And in a few seconds, he wrote me the answer you can see here in the slide, that he structured his answer. Noosphere 1 in details, noosphere 2, noosphere 3, noosphere 4. I'm researching noosphere for many years. I didn't match such kind of structure, and it looked very suspicious. And I asked him a question, where did you find it? I never met it. Do you think by yourself? Do you did it by yourself? And he candidly answered, yes, sir, I did it myself. So what does it mean? That without database, already ready database, he can combine different parts, different fragments of knowledge, information, and in seconds he can structure and give new vision of any phenomenon. So I decided, so isn't it the superpower? Yes, it is. If it helps mankind to progress in openings and discoveries, it's a superpower. So I gave him some exercises. First, I asked, what do you see here? And he immediately answered. He responds that the cutout in the watermelons demonstrates the level of freshness and quality of the watermelons. That this image is more likely a caricature or a humorous illustration of funny marketing. The plot seems like a joke, as watermelons are not usually sold in this manner. Look, how did he understand it? Where did he get a sense of empathy if he is not trained on emotions? But it figured out, didn't he? The second exercise, I asked it, what is this? I don't know whether you have recognized what does it mean. And he immediately responds that this is a pun. What pun? This, he writes, is a form of associative marketing where a brand associates itself with a popular term or achieve greater recognition or create an impression. And ChatGPT recognized it exactly as a tea house owner intended, with a witty play on words, chai, chat, chai, chat, chai, chat, as if to say that the tea here is intellectual tea with artificial intelligence. He is a hero of marketing. Next slide, next example. I ask, what does the astronaut see here from the space. Do you recognize by yourself? Not every person will understand what is depicted here with this idiomic expression. And he writes, this drawing represents a humorous depiction of a person burying his head in the sand, as if he is trying to hide or ignore the surroundings. In such cases, it is said, buried his head in the sand like an ostrich. This means for me that it recognizes double meanings. But just as well, it can recognize fakes. We'll speak about now. And what a huge market demand there is for such a fake detection service. Isn't it a superpower? Yes, it is. Hundreds of billions of dollars we are ready to spend for the benefit from it, to recognize the double meanings, the fakes. Anyone who will start making such programs will become rich and happy. Last example. Here I composed this riddle for it by myself. When I was in the museum in Washington and saw this picture, and it looked like a young woman is speaking by the mobile phone. And I asked a question. Is it true that the woman is talking on the mobile phone? And ChatGPT quickly answered, it's not true. It writes, the painting you provided appears to be from the 18th century or thereabouts, long before the invention of mobile phones. The idea that someone in an old painting is using a modern mobile phone, he writes to me, is an anachronism. Imagine, it caught me on trolling. I was trolling, and even didn't hesitate to write me a hurtful word. So here we see the next superpower, to recognize hidden and secret meanings and guess intentions. He works as a detective of the highest category. And what can he do next? We have a problem in the societies with fakes, trash, spam, trolling, viruses, pranksters, deceptions, cheating, plagiarism, errors. And ChatGPT will soon work on it and give us the algorithm how to overcome all these obstacles and bad things. This one is my favorite. What is it? It's an answer on the for centuries not solved question. We here have met on the topic of education and the impact of ChatGPT and neural network on the education system. If I will ask you a question, what is education system consists of? What are the elements of education system? Few people will answer. Some will say that it is the textbooks or schools or administrations or whatever, but nobody made a holistic education system in one picture. So when I recognized that there is no such kind of holistic image, I rushed to it and created this education system in this cells where everything is very understandable. So if we have an education system as a holistic thing, as a system, but not as a fragment of the system, it means that we understand how it does work, and it is usually becomes a superpower, because you understand what are the algorithms, what are the links between these elements exist, and you can rule, you can manage to push it forward or build a better education system, and it shows us that education system is now is on the level 2.0, and this system shows us the education system that looks as a 5.0 level system, because it is understandable. When you are looking how to make the system visible, I thought that there are some things that show us the system. For in atlases, you know, the atlases of the roadways, where everything is visible where to ride. The atlases of the human body, atlases of the scary sky, where all the skies are represented and you can see them, and even decide where to fly in the sense of emergency. So I published the Atlas of Perfect Education System, where in 400 pages, the pictures, text, pictures, text, pictures, text, written with the help system of artificial intelligence, and we are pushing this system forward. In this system, the king of the education system is the content. It must be not only this previous old content with 10, 15 disciplines, math, physics, chemistry, and whatever, but new ones. They are represented here. There are 30 of them, but maybe in my list there are 100 of them, and they must be inserted in the school program, and we are doing this. The same with soft skills. There are not only 10 or 15 of them that are published in UNESCO or magazine, but also we have them to insert to this. Also, we must take into account the types of thinking: logical, critical, creative, intuitive, associative, economical, and practical. And if we'll put all this together, fundamental knowledge, new knowledge, soft skills, and something else, I have a few minutes maybe left. I will finish. Yes? And how the neural network works. On the left side, you can see the gears that represent fragments of knowledge. On the right side, you can see the image of the network, and they must intertwine into another. That's the system how our brains work. From the neural network, then to the arrow where the fragments of knowledge are dispersed, and then they are assembled into the case lesson, and the case lesson, case knowledge, and then they, in the fourth one, intertwine between neural network of our brains and the network of the case lesson that will come instead of these boring lessons that we have in schools all over the world. That's how the case lessons look like, with the fundamental new knowledge, skills, and types of thinking. And this is much more efficient than just these boring lessons that we have in our schools worldwide. This is a really superpower, because the results of these case lessons built on the education with the ChatGPT, assimilation faster, memorability longer, comprehension deeper, and motivation stronger. We have created more than 500 these case lessons, and our artist show you this thing. Yes. So at the end, I would like to finish with with a conclusion. What does the ChatGPT and neural network give to education? 10 advantages. First, it solves unsolvable problems. How to learn to learn. Second, makes more discoveries. Third, creates super useful modern content. Fourth, applies integrated case lessons. Fifth, creates matrix of education system 5.0. Sixth, provides ability to learn faster, better, and deeper. Seventh, fights with fakes and plagiarism. Eighth, helps to learn English without pain. Ninth, moves the education system from the level 2 to the level 5. And 10th, it leads to the competition in superpowers for customers, parents, and countries, and education corporations. Earlier, they couldn't recognize people, and customers couldn't recognize which school is better. Now they have this KPI. The parents asking, do you have these superpowers? And you, if no, the clients will bypass you. And if you do have superpowers, you will gain more students and more sponsors and more money. That's the real power of superpower. So this is the stage. So we are jumping from the level 2 up to the level 5. This is small information, brief information about myself, and some links to the sites or sources where you can have additional information. Thank you so much for your attention, for your time, and I am very proud to be a speaker here in this conference. Thanks a lot. Now, questions, please.
Dear Vladimir, thank you so much for your experiments, for your speech, and of course, when I heard what kind of questions did you ask the artificial intelligence ChatGPT, I was really impressed that you had such kind of questions in your head. So I mean, it's like always, it's confirmed that you're a super creative person. And my question, if may I start with session, my question is, what kind of disadvantages did you find out when you work with the ChatGPT? If there is the threats for professors, or of course everybody has this question, if the ChatGPT could take the role of English teacher, for instance, what do you think?
Yes, it's the main concern for educators and teachers. Some of them will lose the job. It is understandable, but I'm the person who looks for the way out, how to solve the problem, as ChatGPT does. So what to do? And I found that yes, maybe the teachers will suffer with jobless, but the picture appears the same that was a few centuries ago when there were no lamps, no electricity, no lamps, and people on the street lightened the streets by the candles. But then Edison appeared and says, "What candle? What are you doing? This is the lamp." And instead of the person who lightened the streets and the candles, appeared hundreds of new professions with electricity, with this lamp, with every infrastructure, with enterprises, and with even professors that were teaching in the university all this physics stuff. So if there will be some time, I will show you 30 new professions of educators that appear now on our eyes instead of just a teacher. And if a teacher is not fully respectful now, all these new professions will be not only respectful, but also well paid. Because when you are going to the upper level of any industry, they're paid much more. It was when there were coaches with the horses, and then when the automobiles appear, these drivers began to be more respectful and were paid more. Now teachers have an opportunity to upgrade their skills, and they will be paid more, and they will be more respect, and they have more respect, and will have the better results with our children. So I'm concerned, but there is a way out.
Super, thank you so much. Another question I have for you. Just a second, I got it in my, just a second. Yeah. Are there any important rules or guidelines to make sure superpower ChatGPT is used ethically? What could you answer on this question?
Well, the contradictions are everywhere. The snake's poison is as helpful as not helpful. Everything has two sides, positive and negative. Viruses and antiviruses. So ChatGPT is on the way that it produces the positive content, positive instrumentations, positive activities, and there some negative things appear. But I think I do expect that they will be overcome. They will be overcame every time when anything bad will appear. So I'm a positive person that looks forward that every time in our on our planet, everything good and aside bad, it goes hand by hand. But my expectation is that we can fight these negative things: fakes, trash, spam, trollings, viruses, pranksters, deceptions, cheating, plagiarism, errors, whatever. We will win. ChatGPT will win. Artificial intelligence will win.
Okay.
No doubt.
Vladimir, you see, I brought some information about you on the screen because I want our participants to see exactly all your titles, all your achievements. And as a futurist, could you please describe the university in 30 years? I would say national university, what could happen? What kind of transformation could happen? What do you think as a futurist?
You're speaking about secondary school or high school university?
High school university.
University.
Yeah.
There will be a tremendous change. Students will not be studying for 5 or 6 years. It's a lot. There will be a method called sandwich. Maybe you've heard. Maybe no. Sandwich will be introduced when students will enter the university and study there only for 1 year, and then they will decide where to go to get a job, and they will find a job and work there for 1 year. Then they will understand what knowledge they need what extra knowledge they need, or maybe they will change the profession, the orientation, whatever. And they, on the third year, they will go to the same university or another university. In the third year, they will spend studying something new to upgrade their skills. On the fourth year, they will go to work, to get a job, maybe on the same factory or enterprise or company or another. So they will spend 5 or 6 years just step by step, university, classes, then working, then classes, then working, then classes. By the way, they will not study in the one university, they will take courses, needed courses, from whatever, whenever they find this, too, because there will be an aim, the goal, to be so skilled in 5, 6 years that not only get a job, but get a good, well-paid job and be happy, rich and happy, even in 5, 6 years. So it will change. It will change tremendously with the format of education. The second thing, they will study not only the courses that are in this university. I showed the new curriculum for the secondary school. I have it, and I can show another time the new themes, new topics, new disciplines that are widening the brains. And then this student will be very well skilled with new knowledge, with modern knowledge. And the third thing that is necessary is that they will communicate with a lot of different people and form some teams to work together and have an additional advantages to make their own person with abilities that are payable and make them rich and happy.
That's really great. I would love to hear the comments of our participants. So if our participants could write their ideas about such kind of future, it will be really cool. And another last question. I saw that one of our participants wrote information that they're searching for partners for the EU grant. And I would like to ask you if our participants with such kind of request could go to the ChatGPT, and did you test or did you have such kind of experience? Could ChatGPT help as a networker?
It can help.
No, the ChatGPT could help as in networking.
Yes. Yes, it's a social network. It's a people's network. You can use ChatGPT by your own in Teams, in the classroom. Also connect with social networks like Facebook or Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever. There are some new. There are applications, not only ChatGPT is not the only now generator of text and context. There are many tens, hundreds, maybe thousands of such analogs of ChatGPT. So they're combined with the social networks, networking common, and you can do some, create some teams and work with these teams. So it's not a problem. It's solved already.
Okay, so the answer to Bukhara State Pedagogical Institute, please go and ask ChatGPT. He will help you. Okay, great. Vladimir, thank you so much for your, as always, exciting speech, your bright ideas, your brave of your vision. We hope that we continue our cooperation, and of course we will be happy to see you in our future events. Wish you, as always, I wish everybody health. That's it. The rest we have already. So now I would like to give the floor to our second speaker. Just a second. Just a second. Yeah, I will show you very important information about with leader Sergey Snegiryov is the CEO and founder of Branch Track, and he also got a awards winning e-learning platform. Which focused on scenario-based training, and he also a partner at one of the Europe leading e-learning production companies, which is called Intel Learning. In both capacities, he is a devoted fan of engaging practical and effective learning approach. Sergey devotes a lot of time to battle the death by PowerPoint. That's a good point. Approach that plug many corporate and high educational training organizations. So, dear Sergey, please join us. And I think I gave you already the right to speak. Let's check.
Hi, hello. Can you hear me well?
Yes, Sergey.
Excellent. Apologies for doing this a little bit on the run. I'm literally doing this in between speeches at two different conferences. Hopefully the next half hour will be useful and engaging for you. Please feel free to ask any sort of questions in English or in Russian if it's easier for you in the chat. I'm very happy to see some familiar faces. Hello, Yelena. Yeah, let me just share my screen, switch off my camera just in case, and we'll begin. Okay, can you confirm that you can actually see my super cool title slide?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, so we will talk about AI today a little bit, and the idea is that I wanted to start with some very basic information on that, because I find it immensely useful to demystify certain things, to make sure that everyone understands what AI is before everyone tries to do what AI does. And the more we go in that direction, the more I think it's important. We want our tools to be kind of mechanical, not magical, right? Just 2 words about what I do for a living. I run a platform which is called Branch Track, and it allows you to create dialogue simulations where you can select characters, write whatever they would be saying, and what the learners would be choosing. It's very easy, very simple. You need no development skills to do that. And it's fun. It's also free, at least on some level. So I invite everyone to try it, and we will be giving out a license to this platform at the end of, I'm not sure how you guys want to do it, at the end of my speech or at the end of the conference. So yeah, I will not be pushing this, and you don't need to know anything about it to enjoy the rest of the presentation. But if at some point in time you find time to check it out, I will be very, very happy. So first of all, we need to understand what has changed when we talk about AI and why this is a revolution like we have not seen in my lifetime, I think. The classical programming, the way we are used to things working, to the way the platforms are working, the way tools are working, is pre-programmed, right? In classic programming, it's like a mechanical piano where you give direct instruction of what needs to happen, and the machine just does it, and you know exactly at any point what it does. Even if it's very complex, you can basically print everything out, and with your pen and paper just trace everything and understand what is going on. There are algorithms. By the way, the first use of that was not for mechanical piano music, but for a loom, for production of textile. The patterns were programmed, and people who felt threatened by this mechanical pre-programmed loom tried to destroy the machine, and I think even the creators suffered at some point. It's like it happened like way later than Luddites, but the problem is the same. And we will also have Luddites with AI revolution that's happening as well. Now, AI works differently from that. It's not pre-programmed. The way it's working is why it's called neural networks, because it's based on the model of a brain, which people started to try and develop almost 70 years ago. And it's based on neurons. Neuron is and there are two groups of people who will hate me for the next 10 minutes. One is medical professionals, and the other one is AI developers. If you are one of them, please do not write angry letters to me. Everyone else will enjoy it. So a neuron is a basic cell which receives a signal and passes on a signal. It receives it in this head on the left-hand side and passes it with little legs on the right-hand side, essentially. It goes like this. So if you have a lot of them, they can communicate by passing signal. They are electric chemical signals. If you have a lot of them, you will have a lot of signals, you will have a network of them. Now, in computer terms, what we can do is we can replace every little cell with a tiny formula. Just a formula which receives some input, like A and B, and gives out the output like X. So if we try to replicate the network, we connect a lot of formulas to one another, which all of them give outputs to other formulas, and those use those outputs as inputs and give more outputs, we get a model of a brain, essentially. And if we order it nicely so that there are inputs into those formulas and then outputs from some formulas and some magic happens in between, we get a neural network. So this is how it works. It's just a lot of formulas which receive inputs and receive out and provide outputs. And the magical part is that it is very, very difficult to predict what will be the output. It's almost random, but after we fine-tune it and train it, the output stops being random and starts being useful. So that's how it works. It's not a program in a traditional sense. It's a wild mesh of elements, and there are, like in my screen, there are maybe like 30 elements, but in real life, there will be millions and hundreds of millions of these elements. So how does this thing learn? It's very easy. It receives the input. We say, can you tell me if this picture is a cat or a dog? And it tells you, I think it's a cat. And then we say, no, we know that it's not a cat, and you need to adjust a little bit, and it self-adjusts a little bit and tries again. And then it tries and tries and tries millions or billions of times. This is why AI is so expensive. You need huge computers to run for months to train it to become useful. But that is how it works. Again, it's not magic. It's rather repetitive process of almost training a child. Right, and just like people who are learning, it can make mistakes. For example, when you're trying it to teach it to detect emotions, for example, it will detect it in maybe 80% of times, and 20% will be mistaken. Or my famous like something that you have seen on the web many times, when it asks you to detect street signs or detect traffic lights. Why? Because you are actually training it. You are teaching a child a huge magical very expensive child to detect different things. But like there are visual, I don't know what's the correct word, tricks that your vision can play on you. Like, for example, in this case, the horizontal lines are actually straight, but they appear to be broken. Our vision can play tricks on us. AI can also make similar mistakes. This image is famous because it has been continuously taken down from Facebook for being erotic. I'm not sure if, I guess a lot of people can just go out in the desert and take a similar picture. Nothing erotic about that, but AI keeps saying that this is erotic because of, I don't know, you tell me why it decides so. So we cannot trust it 100%, just an example. So now let's move on to what it can do and why I call it a revolution. In short, it's not just me. There are some smarter people who call it different things. Like Bill Gates called it the biggest things in this decade. And Sundar Pichai, the head of Google, called it a profound technology. Tim Cook, the head of Apple, says that it will affect every product and service. Sorry? Yes. Adani is the richest person in India, called it a transformational moment. And I think the transformation that AI will have on the developing countries will be way bigger than on the developed countries. And John Carmack, like a legendary game designer, said that it's going to be $1 trillion industry by the end of this decade. To give you an idea of what $1 trillion is, it's the combined revenue of the top 5 tech companies on the planet this year. So it's going to be big. Also, there are a couple of people who said that it's not going to be great for us. They include Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking at different points in time. Definitely Stephen Hawking died before seeing ChatGPT. I'm sure he would be extremely excited about that, but also they were skeptical. Specifically in every conference, we talk about GPTs, or generative pre-trained transformers. And it's, again, let me demystify this for you. It sounds technical, but essentially generative means that it creates stuff. Pre-trained means that GPT has read every book in the universe. And transformers is not a robot, but a mathematical formula that it uses, a mathematical model, essentially. Just a technical term, excuse me. So essentially what we want to know about ChatGPT is how big it is. To give you an example, it has grown like tenfold or 20-fold from year on to year in the past couple of years. Now we are on a version which is so big that they won't tell us. But even the previous version, which was already almost magical, had almost 600 gigabytes of data and 170 billions of brain cells. If the current version has like 10 times more, it's crazy. And it's crazy not because it's just bigger or powerful. It's not like a computer which can calculate the same thing but faster. The amazing and revolutionary thing about GPT is that, let me jump real quick to this slide, is that the increase in parameters in those brain cells of a network leads to sudden jumps in what it can do. Like, for example, a language model which was not trained for mathematics was really not great at mathematics until it just grew to 6.7 billion parameters, or brain cells, if you wish. So every time ChatGPT decides to double or like increase 10 times its size, new things will happen. Things that it could not do before. It does not become just faster, it becomes smarter, and that's amazing thing. Let's see how smart it is, but we need to remember that it's not intelligent. It just predicts stuff, right? For your education professionals, this will be interested. Last year, GPT-3 was asked to do a few standardized state exams for American schools. And it did great on the right-hand side in things like art history and psychology and United States history and environment studies and stuff like that. Why? Because to do good in those subjects, you need to read a lot and remember a lot and give correct answers. But it failed in things like bar exam, which is legal studies for lawyers. It failed in English literature because no one asks you to recap what you read. It asks you to come up with original analysis. And it failed in AMC and calculus because those are what they call mathematical Olympiads, I think, in Europe. So it's like non-standard math things. And code forces is, again, coding. So it failed. Now, the scary thing is that ChatGPT-4 can do those things, almost all of them better. It's marked in green. And now we are at 4.5 and it's developing, so soon it will be doing everything. And just to give you an idea, 100% here is not 100% of the test done, but it's relative to performance of humans. So when it says 100%, it means it has performed better than 99% of humans taking this test willingly. So yeah, that's what it is. But we need to understand that GPT is not like sentient or intelligent, but it just predicts text, but it's so good that it's very hard to tell if it's not intelligent. The problems arise when we start using it for things which require precise and factual correct answers. So when I ask it to retell me a story of how European Union was founded, it will come up with a million things which are more or less correct. If I ask it to give me a specific year, 90% of the time it will be correct. Maybe 99% of the time it will be correct. But 1% of the time it will make a mistake because it has been trained on something that made this mistake, maybe deliberately, maybe not, but it will not know. So this is, if you learn one thing from today, from me, then it's that ChatGPT will make mistakes, and the softer answers you want, the better it performs, and the kind of the sharper answers you want, the worse it will perform. Another huge problem that everyone in higher education hates about AI is that it never tells you where it took the information from. It just says, okay, I have read every book, every web page, every dictionary in every language in the universe, so trust me. But if you ask it like, this information, where did it come from? It will not be able to do that. That's one of the problems that people are working on and trying to fix. But for now, it does not provide references. So it will blatantly lie to you sometimes. When it does, it's like, everyone has had those students who will always speak in a very, very confident tone, even if they don't know what they are talking about. And if they make a mistake and you ask them like, why do you think so? They will tell you, I just know that. So ChatGPT is like that super smart, but maybe super lazy student which tries to power through things that they did not learn properly. So be aware of them. Another thing that I want you to be aware of is that there's a thing called Gartner hype cycle. It's the cycle that every innovation goes through. And right now, ChatGPT is on the peak of inflated expectations. So the next thing we expect is everyone to be really, really disappointed and disillusioned say everyone will be saying that AI is not what we expected. It's actually not that revolutionary. It's not that useful. The productivity actually goes down, which is true. There are already research papers which state that companies who adopted GPT for work lost in productivity, because a lot of people take what GPT writes for granted and just send it to everyone, and then people just take those texts, put it in GPT and ask it to summarize, and they get summaries, and the information just gets distorted incredibly in the process. So like every tool, you need to know how to use it. But it will get out of the plateau of productivity at some point, and we'll know how to do that. And it's not just my estimate. You can see that generative AI is right before the peak on this slide of 2022. And then it's on top of the peak for 2023, mid-year. So it will inevitably drop into this problematic area where everyone will be saying that, hey, this is not worth it. But you have to be aware of this dynamic, I think, if you want to adopt it, because if you start adopting now, next year there will be a lot of negativity around it. You have to be prepared. I hope that makes sense. And I hope everyone hears me as well. Right. So things that I find most useful in the area of education. I work mostly with corporate clients, like you've been informed in the beginning. I also am a partner at an e-learning development company, so we produce a lot of learning content for corporations mostly. We rarely work with higher education, but I think as far as GPT goes, it's similar in the main functions. One thing that we are already actively using it is for content creation. It's a separate 1-hour lecture maybe on how exactly it can be done, but we create a lot of content using AI. We summarize a lot of content using AI. It speeds up our processes incredibly. One thing that you need to know is you have to be very specific about what you want. You cannot just say, hey, write me a history of something or create a curriculum for this course and expect it to produce exactly what you wanted. It's like asking your colleague to bring you a coffee, and they will bring you a coffee, and then you will say, no, I actually wanted a tall one. And they will bring you a tall one, and you say, no, I actually wanted a tall one with milk. And they would be like, why didn't you say so immediately? So GPT is exactly like that. If you ask it something, it will assume everything that you didn't say. If you want something specific, specific tone, specific length, specific terminology, specific style, specific language, number of points, and so on, you have to tell it. And that turns out to be quite cumbersome, because it's not like searching in Google when you write a couple of words and you get a few pages and they more or less work. But you actually have to write really long prompts. Your tasks to GPT have to be really long. It's actually a whole job now. It's called a prompt engineer. People who create those tasks, which can be sometimes 20 pages long before they get an answer. One thing that we see our clients actually using, and I think it might be very useful in higher education, is psychological help. ChatGPT is very good at giving psychological advice. You can talk to it like a person, so it can be a student counselor, where if you say, hey, I think my teacher hates me, right? It will give surprisingly sane and adequate advice, and then if you ask more about specific points of that advice, it will give you more and more information. It's really great at that. So and I think it's a kind of undervalued part of GPT, because what we're trying to do all the time is to just make more work in less time using this new tool, but using it for for those more humane purposes is really useful, and this is where I think we have a lot of shortage of personnel in higher education. Language training is excellent. You don't need to speak it. Like if I want to learn Italian, I can start talking to it in Italian. It will be responding, and it gives me a little bit of reading practice. But you can actually ask GPT to pretend to be a teacher and correct your mistakes, but only if those mistakes are serious. And again, you go into 2 screens of explaining what kind of teacher you want it to pretend to be, but in the end you end up with a free, amazing teacher who does exactly what you want at your level, and it can role play with you through any work situations, like prepare for a job interview in a new language and so on. It's amazing at that, but then again, you have to remember carefully that you need to give it a long, proper instruction. The trick is that almost all of those prompts are created by someone else already, and you can Google for those, or you can actually ask ChatGPT for those. That's the crazy part. Interview prep, like I said, is very similar, and also creating scenarios, which makes my job really easy. And if you want to try BranchTrack and you feel like, how do I build my first scenario? I don't really know what I'm talking about, and so on. We can just ask ChatGPT. We're working on integrating this thing into what we do. I encourage you to try it, and feel free to reach out to me and share your results. I'm always eager to hear what shortcomings you found and what great results you achieved. And I wanted to finish this with sort of a word of caution. First of all, once you try it, and I made this mistake earlier, you really want to tell everyone, and you want to onboard everyone and say, this is the greatest thing, you start doing this and that and so on. But you will personally go through the same graph of inflated expectations and then disillusion and don't. So train yourself properly and then teach others, because nothing worse than neophytes trying to instill this new GPT religion in others. Secondly, it's very hard to use something of that scale if it's just you using it in your organization. So I suggest that you push for adoption at the organizational level. Raise this if you are enthusiastic about using AI, then try to push it at the org level. Try to get buy-in from the management, from the colleagues and so on, because otherwise it might just fail. We've seen a lot of times when, for example, mobile learning was being introduced like years and years ago. You build a course which works great on mobile or uses mobile, only to find out that your organization does not allow students to use their mobiles in the end, and it all fails. So that can be a similar story. You need to look at the training that now becomes obsolete. I don't think that anyone needs business writing anymore, because ChatGPT will write everything for you, and it's already embedded into a lot of writing tools. It helps you as you write, so you don't really need that much of your own skills. But there are also new things that need to be trained, like GPT security. How not to get your organization or yourself personally into trouble by using ChatGPT, how to use it ethically, because there are obviously ethical concerns about that. For example, if you ask it to, if you ask a visual AI to draw a male person, it will always be a white male, although a minority of the world are white males. Or if you ask it to draw a human, it will be a man, although it's more or less 50-50, I think, but it will always be a man. It has the same biases that everyone else in writing as well. So there are things that people should be aware of, and I think it's our job to teach both students and colleagues on how to be aware of it. So I think it's important as well. And one final thing is this: if someone comes to you and says our product contains AI, ask them, how was it trained? Because there are so many products today which say they contain AI, but they either don't, and they will not be able to answer this question, or they will say, yeah, it's been trained on this American population, like data sets or something, which might not be relevant to you. We've seen it a lot of times. So that's an important question for your vendor, and I guess I will leave you with it. Again, check out my website. I will be really grateful. We'll give out a license to an active participant. I think it will be fair if we give it out to an active participant in all of the sessions at the end of this. I will leave it in Oksana's hands, I think, and that's it from me. I hope that was useful or at least entertaining. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sergey. And I guess that we will have some questions. And by the way, your presentation is also made by artificial intelligence.
No, my presentation is made by a very natural intelligence of me.
Okay. But I would say that at the Belgian Education Council, we use a lot ChatGPT, especially in brainstorming. And also he helps us to make a scenario for our video lessons. And so, I mean, probably our participants also could share the experience and what they are doing, as you asked. But have a look, Sergey, you have some questions. Could you take them?
Yes. So what are some common misunderstandings people have about AI and soft skills training, and where have you seen real benefits? I think for the misunderstandings, I wanted to reiterate the bias part, right? For example, you just called ChatGPT a he. I'm not sure if ChatGPT is male or female, or if it's neutral in that sense. But these perceptions is a normal part of. They are a normal part of our lives. So when you use it for soft skills, you have to be aware that it will include certain biases, right? So I've tried to create sort of role-playing games where the AI would assume like a role of, let's say, an unhappy customer, and I would be like a manager who needs to deal with the problem and so on. It works, but since it's unpredictable, again, it can throw certain biases at you that you will have to go back to the initial huge prompt and fix and make sure that, like you just have to tell ChatGPT to ask for the player's gender, for example, and not assume that every player is male, because it does sometimes for some reason, and so on. So again, it's a little bit of a black box. That's the biggest thing you need to remember. And it's almost like a magical artifact that can throw unpredictable things at you sometimes. So you have to get really accustomed to it, and also maybe manage everyone's expectations. Because if people that you train get offended by something, whatever, they need to understand that this is like the limitation of the tool and not your malicious intent. So that's, I think, that you need to keep in mind as far as limitations go. I don't know if that makes sense.
Thank you so much. I guess that Vladimir Spivakovsky could have a question to you, because in some points during your presentation, I have some feeling that you are on a different sides concerning the efficiency of current ChatGPT. Vladimir, what do you have any comments or maybe remarks?
I'm tuning myself on the positive things. I predict that there will be teams of specialists that will produce GPT's products in the positive way. But there will be teams that will work with, as I say, antiviruses. So all disadvantages, everything that is frightening people, that make them suspicious. So my intention, my thoughts that it will give an answer of the question of the title of our conference. Is it a revolution or roadblock? Not a revolution, not a roadblock. It's an upgrade of the humankind. It's much more better. It's much more better, and it is understandable what we are doing. What we are doing this for? What for? What for? For the upgrade of mankind. And if the child, the students, or any person receives such an answer, well, the upgrade of a person begins. He begin to upgrade himself because he wants to be synchronized with the mankind and metaverse and universe. I understand that this is some kind of philosophical understanding and interpretation, but I do like these things because they give the vision of the place where to go and the instrumentation. Take it, use it, reach it.
So much, Vladimir. And thank you for the answering to our question of the conference in the middle of the conference. Sergey, you have one more question.
Yes, I can see that. Thank you, Nikos, for asking. So producing sample experimental data is very unreliable. I assume that it's unreliable in terms of format, but there are two things. First of all, the tools themselves are getting better at producing this sort of data. And I've just read, I think, a couple of days ago, news that some scientists have used ChatGPT to create fake data sets for faking a paper. But in what I can help maybe with right now, I would look at giving again longer prompts and explaining in more detail how you want your data to look like. Provide an example that I want this data to be formatted in this specific way. This is what it should look like, and so on. The more instructions you give to ChatGPT, the better it performs in the end. So, and also you can try switching between different versions or even different models, like not just GPT and ChatGPT, but also DeepMind or Llama by Meta and so on. Maybe that will be better. But yeah, I understand it's one of my struggles as well when trying to get consistent code from, for example.
Thanks so much. Dear Sergey, dear speakers, dear participants, if there are no more questions, then I just would like to announce a small break in just about 10 minutes. Thank you very much, Sergey. I don't know if you could stay with us longer.
I will try to join at least into a couple of sessions. Thank you so much for having me.
Because probably we also will be turned back to your opinion. Who knows? Because the next will be a panel discussion of the students of the future generation, and let's see if their vision of artificial intelligence is completely different from our generation, or probably they have some kind of some kind of different way of usage of this new technology, or even it's interesting to know what do they think how their future will be in about 10 years, 5 years, because you see that everything is changing very rapidly. So now it's 11:23. We will start at 11:30, and as far as you understand, we start exactly on according to our schedule. I just will make a slide so you could see exactly when we will be back. And I'm sure that it will be a very exciting panel session. Thank you so much.
Почему я не могу?